Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 372.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos. Happy Tuesday. It's a terrific Tuesday today.
My computer was shut down when I came in here.
Of course, right? A little glitch, but that's okay. It's all right. We're going to recover. You know what? My entire perspective is now seen through the lens of my mother arrived safely on the other side of her AFib procedure. So I really don't care what anything else is happening. I am stuck in rejoicing and celebration. And I just want to thank everybody who sent well wishes and prayers. It was wild. It did feel odd yesterday to be Monday, 10 a.m., not sitting next to this handsome man or live in the chat for a Keto Beyond the Couch.
Yeah.
But mommy had a procedure yesterday, and we did discover the root cause finally of her AFib, and that is a leaky valve that she's going to be following up with in order for her to eventually have that clamped. So we can stop. This doesn't need to be the annual event for her, right?
Right.
But so thankful for everyone's prayers. And it was just a beautiful experience. We were in Lake Wales, Advent Health, and could not have had a better experience with the doctors, medical staff, the
That's
facility
awesome.
itself. I really
so glad she's
appreciated
doing
it.
good. So welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch. If you are new here, Keto Beyond the Couch is all about celebrating our subscribers and answering questions about keto and carnivore that we found on our social media from the last week. If you're new here, we generally do this live on Mondays whenever possible, but once in a while, we can't do that. So we decided rather than pre-recording it, we would just shift it over to Tuesday.
Yeah.
Now, we're not going to pay too much attention to the chat for a little while. We're going to go over what we have pre-prepared. So if you have a question, hold off to the last 10 or 15 minutes of the stream. It's about an hour and 10 minutes long. Or you can use the super chat function, which is the $ down below. When you do that, it does help benefit our channel, but it's going to highlight our screen and we can answer your question right away. Today's highlight product that we like is Caraway cookware.
Ooh, we got mommy one for Christmas and used that in order to fry some steaks up while I was there. That was her prep, was, dinner the night before. And then after, to celebrate, everything went well. Steaks, and boy, did it. It was perfect.
We absolutely love our Caraway cookware. It is good. It is safe. It is non-stick, but it's using ceramic. Best pans I've ever owned, and I've owned a lot of pans. Obviously, I love cast iron, which they actually also have cast iron. We actually have one coming. But if you're looking for a good nonstick pan, if you want good baking sheets, things like that, check out Caraway cookware. When you use our link, you're going to get 10% off. And here's the cool thing. They've got a really great Mother's Day sale going on right now.
Ooh.
And also, they'll have some Father's Day sales. So if you're not quite ready, but you think you want to get something, for your dad or your hubby or something like that, and around Father's Day, they're even going to be doing like some butcher box giveaways for Father's Day.
Mommy wants no cleanup for her Mother's Day. If you're looking for the perfect gift, I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother, and I'm going to tell you what I want is fewer times cleaning.
I'll tell you what, we have a recipe video coming out later on this week that has a lot of sugar type substances and blueberries, and you'll see it wipes off with a paper towel. So if you're interested in some kind of good ceramic coated cookware, check out Caraway using the link on the screen or the one down below in the description box. And by the way, did you notice, we have a lot, so I want to get into it, but yeah. Did you notice you came home to a mopped house, a vacuumed house? I cleaned the kitchen, and I was up to, sorry guys, I know I shouldn't have done this, but I was up until about 2 o'clock in the morning working on our website. First of all, I can't sleep when Rachel's not home. That's a fact. I don't sleep. I don't eat when Rachel's not home.
Romantic.
But I got so fed up with our website. We were trying to put something on the website. Things aren't working. You have not been able to order any of our merchandise on our website for a year and a half. We had somebody work on our website. They put a bunch of things in there that didn't do anything. Then we had somebody else last year. We paid them some money to go in and fix it. They said it was all fixed. It wasn't.
Oh.
So ChatGPT and Gemini to the rescue. After about 12 hours yesterday. I've got our website up and running. And then on the back end, I'm going to be building a new site, but I'm going to do it on my own. Like, I'm tired of people telling me they're going to do something and then they don't do it, or they don't do it right. I have found the only way to know it's done right is do it yourself. So we've got it up. A lot of our merchandise is on there, including our new shirt.
Don't pick pepper out of poop.
So if you like this saying, it's actually all through Amazon now. This is actually the original prototype. One thing that we have found with Amazon, and so I had to go back and redo it. But Amazon, you upload your logo and it looks good on what they show you.
Sure.
But they don't scale the logo for the size of the shirt. So if you make it look good on when they show you is like a large or an extra large or a double extra large.
It's like perfect.
When you put it onto a small or a medium, it's now like wrapping underneath your elbows, underneath your armpits. So we had to scale it and fix it. So the cool thing is the reason we sell everything through Amazon is it's Prime and it's free shipping.
And y'all can return free returns 30 days.
As a matter of fact, we had gotten one and it didn't fit right. They even told us keep it, and they still gave us our money back. So, but yeah, the links are on our website, and then that takes you right to Amazon. And we have all kinds of things: t-shirts, sweatshirts, raglans, tank tops, V-necks. What else? Water bottles, mugs, all of that stuff.
Robin has a good question. I don't get this saying. Why would there be pepper in poop? It's not so much that you're going to be able to audibly see
microscopic things. Pepper just sounds good.
Right. Like you could say, stop trying to pick corn out of poop. It's still it would be like.
That'd be easy.
It's still a futile effort.
Yes.
When you get done picking the corn out, are you going to save the poop or the corn? Right.
Right.
And so a pepper is even
smaller.
A smaller job of micromanaging the minutia of bull crap, to be honest. And yet I find that people will look past, like they won't let things go. And then they can't stop trying to optimize everyone else to a point of ridiculousness.
Yeah. Tony said, Joe, you need to sleep more. Oh, I agree. No, honestly, my sleep's been on point for like the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Until I left.
It's just that Rachel's been gone for 2 nights. And when Rachel's gone, I can't sleep, especially coming off of a Sabbath day. So like you have so much work and we're leaving tomorrow. Yeah. Which I haven't even booked a place to stay yet. And we're leaving tomorrow. So let's get into Keto Beyond the Couch. I did see a question from Carrie. It said, being carnivore, how do I get more energy at work? I'm working with my hernia and swollen ankles. I might have to stop coffee and try something else. Okay, remember, we're not doctors or health professionals, but I'm going to tell you 2 things. Number one, if you're working with swollen ankles and you have an energy issue, I'm going to tell you, based on everything that I've work with myself and talking to medical professionals and all of my research and going through my health coaching, I'm going to tell you I'm about 75% sure that's an electrolyte imbalance issue. Other than that, make sure you're consuming enough fat. Fat's going to give you energy, but you can consume all the fat you want. You can consume all the sugar you want. If your electrolytes are off, it ain't going to work. It sounds like there's an electrolyte imbalance. Remember, it's not just sodium, it's not just potassium, it's not just magnesium. It's the combination of all of them in the right proportion, which is why we like things like Element and salty provisions and all that stuff.
Retired Rick has got some living in flooded Illinois. If you could just pack up some rain.
Can you send that water down here?
And send it over here.
We're running out of pasture for the pigs. I'm going to have to stop letting them out on pasture because
dry now.
They've torn up their 2 sections. And like the grass can't grow back if there's no rain.
It's so sad. Send us some rain, please, please.
Let's jump into this. First one is from Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
She put up this cool thing of these hamsters.
So cute.
This is your reminder that you don't have to have it all figured out today. Move your body, get some sunshine, drink your water, and laugh a little louder.
Oh, I love that. And here's spoiler alert. You are never going to have it all figured out. And that is okay. And if you see people that are like really selling what they're doing by suggesting that they have every single one of their ducks in a row, we have seen chickens in a row. I find that chickens are very intelligent, don't you?
Yeah.
And we have managed to line them up at different points of raising chickens. But even when they get in that line, they don't stay there very long, right? So don't be focused on being like everything has to be perfect.
I just looked up and I saw this. I wanted to mention this. For the 2KK getaway cruise, we have like 4 cabins left. But I wanted to let everybody know MSC is no longer for this cruise accepting solo cabins, period. Like you can't call me, I can't put it in the group. You can't call MSC on your own. They will not allow any more solo cruisers. They're maxed out. So a lot of cruise lines do this. MSC really likes to do it because what they look at is even if you pay double rate. So like, okay, you're supposed to, all the cabins have 2 people in a cabin. If you go by yourself, generally you pay for the second person. Like Royal Caribbean, all them will do that, no problem. MSC and a few other cruise lines are like, after a certain point, we're like, no more, because that means that second person that's not there is not spending money in the casino, on excursions, on the shops, buying drink packages, going out to eat and all that. And so they're looking at it as we're losing revenue. So they restrict the amount of people. Some cruise lines actually will even go, they'll allow it,
right?
But you have to pay 300%. So you have to pay for 2 people in the cabin plus another person to make up for the money that that person's not spending. So just letting you know that if you want to cruise solo and you don't have a cabin, you have to find a cabin mate.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
There is a small workaround, which I'm not going to say on video, but you can message me if you really want to be by yourself. There is a small workaround, but I'm not going to say it on video.
Yeah, that's wise.
Next one we have is from Bill.
Hi, Bill.
I don't know why these are not showing up.
That's okay. We can read them.
Oh, crap. No, that means our screen is blank.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to...
I think people can see us or they would be saying...
Yeah, no, but I'm just going to open up. You're going to have to talk for a minute.
Okay, that's all right. Actually, I'm glad to have this opportunity. Hopefully, Terry D is still here. I came home to the most beautiful gift. She sent me, we were talking about blueberry picking recently with the Grands, and she sent me the most beautiful blueberry decorated duck. And if you know Terry D and cruise ducks, you know how precious this is. So adorable. And I'm like, only she could find this. This is amazing. Like, what a cute, adorable thing. And also a beautiful new book for the grandbabies and us to read, one that she read to her babies, Blueberries for Sal. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. Thank you so much for thinking of us. And spoiler alert, there is a very fun blueberry recipe on its way.
Yes. Okay. So what happened is I stupidly updated my program this morning, and it has taken out the transparent background. So we're not gonna be able to put it on the screen. I'll just read them.
Okay.
So next one is from Bill.
Hi, Bill.
This is how I feel after 3 p.m. every afternoon, totally depleted of energy. For years, I've white knuckled it through the evening meal, but not today. When I paused to have a half strength protein shake, this may seem insignificant to some. However, when one has spent over half a century on some diet or another, giving myself permission to refuel off schedule is huge to me.
This is huge. This is amazing that you are doing this. And I completely understand this. If you're somebody like Bill, like me, who has spent the majority of your years, I've been dieting since 12 years old. That's a long time to be like, you're only supposed to do things a certain way. It's hard enough coming to keto and accepting things like cheese and red meat and flavor, to be honest, right?
Right.
That's hard enough to say like, hey, for the rest of my life, I'm allowing myself butter when that was something that you were trying to restrict the entire time. But to say, hey, I know I need some added protein, and I'm going to do something that's like outside of the regimen. This is a win.
Yes.
That's a huge win.
And again, that's where like people ask about intermittent fasting. I think intermittent fasting is great so long as you do it naturally. What do I mean by naturally? I mean, you should not be eating 2:00. When your body tells you to eat, eat.
Yes.
When your body says you're full, don't eat. You know, now obviously you have to find a balance. Like, don't go a week without eating because you say I'm not hungry. That's not good for your long-term health.
Sure.
But if you wake up, like, I generally don't eat breakfast. The other day I woke up, I'm like, I'm hungry. And I ate like almost a dozen eggs. Like, but it's not normal for me. But when my body says I'm hungry, I'm hungry. I did learn, don't go to Aldi's and buy cheese curds. Yeah, our Aldi had cheese curds, and
They were that was
not a good idea.
Too much fun.
Too much fun
without so much nutrition.
I can suck down like 5 bags of those.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Okay, next one is from Gail.
Hi, Gail.
I really enjoyed your discussion on nutrient absorption and timing post-ingestion. Would love to go into a deeper dive if it ever fits your schedule. We can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
We have a list of like topics we want to talk about. And again, we're changing things up a little bit. We want to be a little light. We are going to have some like deeper conversations, but for a couple weeks, we want to be a little light. We feel like the last few weeks have been a little heavy. We really appreciate all your support on last week's podcast.
Yes.
It came off when we were first recording it and watching it, like, ooh, we sound angry. And then I told Rachel, I don't think we sound angry. I think we sound being protective. We're like protective parents. And that's really what our heart is. So this is definitely something we can do. I think this week we're probably going to skip a podcast and do it for next week just because we are leaving for meat stock.
Travel.
And we have spent some time recording a lot of recipe videos. Mm-hmm. And so just to let you know, I've dug into, like, I have a whole file and box of recipes that I have come up with that we have never recorded, never released on our website. We're going to start doing that because you guys obviously all love recipes.
Let's do it.
And so we're going to do some savory, some sweet, some dessert, some meals. I know how it works. Nobody wants savory, but I like savory. So we're going to make those.
Well, we have to have dinner.
Yes, we need
to eat breakfast or lunch.
Yeah. Next one is from Katie.
Hi, Katie.
I walked away from keto and my health has suffered. Every time I had my food addiction to, I hand my food addiction to God in prayer, a video of you guys pops up. You are both an answer to prayer. Thank you for being so real. I cannot tell you how much I needed this today. You are doing God's work. Thank you.
Katie, thank you so much. We love being a part of your journey. And I also love being somebody that you can just step right back in to your plans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not hard. You're not like, I want you to catch us maintaining the same, right? Maybe we've got some new recipes coming out, but the consistency is the same. And you're not coming back and being like, oh, Rachel and Joe have changed the channel. They only eat swordfish. I don't know.
Never happening.
I don't know that I can continue to watch someone who has changed it to like, we only eat swordfish or we only eat grass clippings from the lawn after we mow. Like either of those things, very, very drastic. And I think that in a YouTube or in any kind of social media, there's like this escalation that like algorithms love. They have to be kind of crazy in some direction. And we're just like, nope, the most crazy is going to be the too crazy kid. The fact that we are counter to that.
I am going to say something very quickly about recipes.
Yeah.
When we record a recipe video, any substitutes, I'm going to mention either in the video or put in the recipe card. If I don't mention it there, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try it yourself.
So, for example, our cinnamon roll mud cake, I've been making that recipe. I came up with that recipe 8 years ago.
Yeah.
We've been making it the same way. I actually have modified it since then by cutting down the sweetener. When we first started making it, I was putting like over 2 tablespoons of erythritol in there. Now I'm down to it like a half a tablespoon to a tablespoon.
Not angry.
That shows you how your tastes change, right? But the biggest change on there was discovering that butter made it taste better. It made it flaky is not a good word.
Fluffier.
Airier.
Okay.
But the butter just really gives it that nice note. And then, of course, allulose. When I first created it, allulose wasn't a thing. But as far as like, can you use psyllium husk powder or something else? I don't know. Go ahead and try it. Let us know. And if it works, we'll put it in the recipe card that, hey, people have told us you can do that. Of course, we will try it first. But a lot of times, like, I can't test everything, and it costs a lot of money just to create recipes and test things.
It does.
We can go broke just doing that.
It is funny. Like, I don't think that we've ever done a recipe where it didn't result in me coming back from the store with $100. At least.
Oh, yeah.
At least.
Kelly, real quick, I saw, can someone tell me where we can listen to the podcast? So our podcast is called the 2KK Uncensored Podcast. You're going to find it on Google, on Spotify, on Apple. Generally it shows up actually on our website. On the main page, there's a little player right there. For some reason, last week's didn't show up. I actually have to contact Libsyn. I noticed that today or last night. But also we're putting it on YouTube. And that's another thing. And I know we're already late, but we do put it on YouTube. It's the last couple months, it's been a static image because it's a lot to record a podcast. Mm-hmm. They're an hour long. They're 40 minutes to an hour long. It's a lot to record them.
That's without edit.
You gotta, there's a lot of ums and ahs because we're kind of talking. A lot of times we're spitballing. And so we've never videoed it. Some good friends said, you really need to go to a video. YouTube doesn't like it. People don't like it. I don't want to listen to it because I don't see you. So we tried last week to video it. Yes, there's going to be jump cuts in there, but it is on YouTube. It shows up. There's a playlist. And there's also a tab on the top for podcasts, but it's always going to go up. If there's an adjoining video, the video will go up and then the podcast goes up right after it. And the podcast generally is going to dive much deeper because it's uncensored. And we're going to talk about things that we're not going to put in a 15-minute video.
But yeah, with a video, you are going to see a lot of jump cuts because
you can have a static image or you can have it where it was intended for
because it's
audio only.
Because you don't want to, people that are just listening to it
Nobody wants long pauses and stuff like that. Next one is from Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
When you drink salty Coco Loco at night, how much water are you using? I use my big coffee mugs, but I'll use any coffee mug. But I would say on average, it's about 14 ounces of water, 14 to 16 ounces.
Good guess.
I generally don't fill up like those big Harry Potter mugs we have, but the one that you see me a lot with my Oscar the Grouch, it's not a standard coffee mug. Like, listen, if you don't know this, all coffee has carbs. There's about one carb in a serving of coffee, and a serving is 8 ounces. Where we came up with 8 ounces is a serving of coffee, because I don't know anybody who only drinks an 8-ounce cup.
I think our grandparents did years ago. They used to make
Did they really?
They used to make much smaller coffee cups.
They did, but how many times did they fill it?
Not as many as me.
What was the restaurant with the bottom? It was like a diner. It was a chain.
Lester's.
But then there was a national one.
Tony and Lester.
With the bottom, it was the bottomless. It was part of their logo outside. Bottomless cup of coffee. You go in
Lester's
and the cup
Diner.
is like this big, but it's bottomless. So like, yeah, you give me a small mug, but you fill it 100 times.
Well, I don't know. My grandmother used to cook her coffee like on the stove in a percolator.
You still drank the whole pot in the day.
you pick between them and me.
It's like we've been using our regular coffee pot. We finally dug it out of storage, and it says there's 12 cups in here. No, there's not. That's 4 cups of coffee, maybe.
Aren't you cute? I will say a lot of times if I'm just making a Coco Loco for Joe, I do get his Oscar the Grouch amount of mug, and I just boil water on the stove.
That's my favorite way
in a tea kettle. And then I just fill it up. So
I used to do it in the microwave, but then you burn your hand when you grab the mug.
Right.
Okay, next one's from Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
If pH, this is regarding yesterday's video. If pH is that important as far as peeling eggs, would it help to rinse them with baking soda water after the cleaning rinse? Not really. For the same reason the vinegar doesn't work really well in a pot of boiling water. You got a thick calcium shell. It will help a little bit because the baking soda would be abrasive. And when you do that, you're going to open up the pores more, but you don't really need to. Again, go watch the video. If you've ever wondered why you can't peel backyard or fresh eggs easily, it's all about pH. And I show you exactly how to do it. And tip number 1 is you need to wash them and put them in the refrigerator for 1 to 2 days. And if you don't do that, the only other way you're really going to get it to work right would be to do it in an Instapot. But again, you really should wash them and put them in the refrigerator for at least 48 hours.
Okay, so if you have not watched that video, I highly recommend it. I am not in it. I'm not in that video.
No, we have some coming without me, without Rachel.
But listening to that, it was so informative. I get to say this because it's not me that's in it. It was you. And I got to say, I think I'm in love with my home ec teacher right now. But there was so much like, oh, because I would have that issue too. Me and mom were actually talking about it when I was staying at her house. Things like just how you store it. How many times have you boiled eggs? Because it's just easy. You find whatever your method is and you use it. But when you go to make like a deviled egg, or you're taking it out, you know, of the shell, and you're like, man, on one side I've got this much white, and on the other side of the yolk, I'm going to pierce it like it's a fingernail.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's the way you store it, and honestly, the way you cook it. That's why using a trivet is great, because you can keep it pointy side down. That trivet method. So if you want to do something like quail eggs or bantam eggs and hard boil them, you really cannot do quail eggs in an Instant Pot. I mean, you can, but good luck. You have to do them in a pot of water and stir it while you're doing, because the yolk is so big compared to the white. It will literally, if it's not perfectly centered, you won't be able to peel them. I
will say that Tabitha and Maisie both hated that video, because when I used to get super like frustrated because I had dug into the egg shells and like made it so that it's not pretty at all. Now I don't want to eat the boiled egg. The animals got it.
My pigs get them now.
And now they're not getting nothing.
Next one is from Catherine.
Hey, Catherine.
When I was in high school, I had a cereal for breakfast around 6:30. By 10 o'clock, I would be so tired. I would take a nap in a cubicle in the library. If I only knew then what I know now. PSA, a non-cereal breakfast was not an option.
It's so interesting, because I felt that frustration too. And I felt frustration even for my kids. I had, you know, as a 70s and 80s kids, like I was wholly raised on advertisements that you couldn't DVR past. You couldn't ignore the commercials. So we lived in an age where everything was an advertisement to you, from like what was, you know, the McDonald's commercial was also advertising something else on top of McDonald's, right? Like there was just so much advertisement, all of your Saturday morning cartoons. And so I was locked in my brain of what did a complete breakfast look like. And once that you've said that enough and seen it enough, it really is hard for you to be like, oh, is there something else? Like, I don't have the milk and the orange juice. I can remember feeling repulsed by seeing milk and orange juice together, because I'm just like, ew, that's going to make my stomach hurt, right? Because orange juice and milk, ew. Why don't you just brush your teeth in the middle of that, like for the trifecta? But it was just, but that was visually.
It would make sense that an orange juice and milk would be good. But have you ever heard of an orange Julius?
I don't know. It never looked good to me. But I just think it's, I never thought something else was an option.
Okay, next one. Unfortunately, I can't put the picture up, but I'm going to tell you what the picture says. Oh, actually, I can put this picture up.
Okay. Well, it's from Carrie. Hi, Carrie.
It's from Carrie. Look at this. I got a particular kick out of the name of this company that makes packages in this salt. Ain't this the truth? It says iodized salt. Ingredients: salt, sodium glutamate, dextrose, sodium thiosulfate, potassium iodide, made by Sugar Foods Corporation.
Talk about showing your hand. And here's the thing. We have used that how many times? How many times have you gone to a diner, or you've gone to McDonald's, or you've gone to 7-Eleven or a restaurant, and you have just used that? You've just torn it up, and you've used that.
Don't even notice there's sugar in your salt.
And you don't even notice there's so much going on. Like there's the entire spoiler alert and the book written on the side of it. I have never read that the Sugar Foods Corporation is probably most of the salt. That's crazy.
Let's take a quick fade to black.
Can we do that? Did we do that?
Yes, we can do that. You're not centered. Can you move over?
Sure.
That's annoying me. Okay.
You just took a shower, so it's not that you don't smell good.
I got to show you guys something real quick. So we did a video the other day on the fluffy bears from Scrummy Sweets.
Yes.
Switch Sweets. Sorry. It got me thinking, and I was talking to Grant. We own a Harvest Right freeze dryer.
Can we do it?
If you like freeze drying, I love freeze drying. That thing has been running like a beast lately.
We're grandparents.
We have it set up out in our shipping container because I don't have another place to put it right now.
This is what old people do.
And if you're interested in one, we have a link down below. Absolutely love it. The medium size is perfect. And they just put out a Wi-Fi module, so I'm waiting for it to come. So then you can see where it's at instead of having to go all the way out to the shipping container in the middle of the night in your underwear to check it.
This is what we get excited about.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
So I took the fruit chews.
Oh my gosh.
I freeze dried the Swiss Sweets.
Because I was like, this doesn't look the same.
It's the fruit chews.
Wow.
This is a half a fruit chew. Actually, this is the old ones. This
it was like an egg.
This is a third of a third. This is 1/3 of one fruit chew. So you can eat, I think it works out like on these, you can eat basically 2 bags of this. That would be 1 serving, 25 calories.
The color.
Yes, it did. You ready?
Yeah.
You got to try this.
Stink.
Give you some ASMR.
Get out of here. All of the moisture in my mouth just came forward to the front of my lips.
It is so good. It's so fluffy. I messaged Grant like, I never want the gummy bears again. I'm just going to order a bunch of these and stick them all in. It's better than the fruit chew. I mean, the fruit chews are great. If you like Starburst,
I'm going to try the red one or the pink one.
The fruit chews are great, but that
is freaking ridiculous.
And it's kind of like cotton candy. It's got a crunch and you put it in and then it's gone. It melts.
Oh,
it is
man.
so awesome.
But this is 1/3.
They need to make those.
They need to make these. Sorry, Susie and Grant. You need to make these. That's amazing.
I tried the caramels. That was a hot mess.
Bad.
My caramels.
Ooh, it's so watermelon-y.
Yeah. The flavor really comes through.
Dude. That's why we freeze dry the blueberries and strawberries, though, that we pick.
Flavor comes through.
Because it's like, there is nothing but like full attention flavor.
If you have a freeze dryer, use the link down below. Go to Scrummy Sweets, Switch Sweets, order some and stick them in your freeze dryer in the candy mode. 145 degrees for 7 hours.
That's ridiculous.
Next one is from Danger Zone.
Danger Zone. There is a channel that spews a 40-30-30 macro regimen roll. That's carbs, protein, fat. Yikes. 40% of your intake should be from carbs. So a 1,600 calorie diet would mean 640 of your calories need to come from carbs. 640 divided by 4 equals 160 grams of carbs. Can you imagine that? Here is one glaring problem. This gal has about 15% body fat. She can't be talking to someone with less than 30% body fat. The typical person... greater than, sorry. The typical person battling a body fat issue has 30% or greater body fat. And pumping that many carbs, 160 grams in, is going to keep that person in a perpetual cycle where the body is burning the excess glucose from the carbs first and doubtful it will get to the actual fat burning mode. Typically, most people can't exercise effectively and enough to burn that excess insulin off to finally start burning the fat. Someone with 15% body fat is burning everything all the time. So 40% of their caloric intake is from carbs. Their metabolism will burn it off. That is a cue to the whole put on as much muscle as you can.
Okay, so this got me thinking, do you have to do keto or carnivore to improve your health? And here's the shocking answer. No, you don't. Is it probably one of the best ways? Absolutely. But is it the only way? No. I'm going to tell you paleo works. I'm going to tell you the Mediterranean diet works. I'm going to tell you vegan doesn't work. I mean, vegan will help a little bit.
So expensive, though.
No, well,
trying
it's not even that it's expensive. Here's the real problem with the vegan diet.
Well, you'd have to this supplement is not an anti-vegan.
The problem with the vegan diet is there are certain amino acids you absolutely cannot get outside of meat. Okay, so that's the real problem with the vegan diet. And we are farming on minerally and nutrient depleted soil in the United States. So the only way to truly do the vegan lifestyle and be healthy is to heavily supplement.
Yeah.
At that point, is it really a natural diet?
No.
So that's the real problem with the vegan. I'm taking out the whole I love animals. If you're a vegan because you absolutely love animals, that's different. Just don't tell me it's healthier. Well, it's not healthier. And it's not better for the environment. It's worse.
Health is not the priority. Environment is not the priority.
Right.
The animals are the priority. And that is okay.
Some people are vegan because they think it's healthier. They're just misinformed.
Sure.
But could this diet that this person is, I took out the name of the channel, but could this diet work for somebody? Yes. Here's the problem. 160 carbs sounds like a lot to us because we eat 20 or 30 or less. But 160 carbs a day is pretty low for the average American. The average American eats well over 300 carbs.
Shocking.
And then they're pairing that with a ton of fat. The real problem is the combining of a lot of carbs with a lot of fat, with seed oils, with the chemicals, with the glycophosates, with the overly processed foods. That's the real problem. Again, you're basing it on 1,600 calories, which is honestly very low for most people. Like nobody really, 1,600 calories should be really the lowest you go when you're trying to lose weight. A woman should be, if you're not trying to lose weight, a woman should be consuming somewhere between 2,200 and 25 calories a day if you're not overly active.
Well, I think that you're not even aware of stuff. Like if somebody tried, like, let me know in the chat if somebody can Google this like really quickly. What is a pumpkin spice muffin from Dunkin' Donuts paired with a pumpkin spice, like the Frappuccino dessert shake thing that they sold at Dunkin' Donuts? That was my breakfast. That was on the way to work. So sometimes we get like really into the weeds about like only 1,600 calories and like that's hard for me to get in. But I have a feeling that I was pretty up there in the caloric intake. And like you said, it was a mixture of fat and carbs and sugar and everything processed. And there was a ton of seed oil in it. So you can begin an elimination diet by just saying, hey, this is the world food. Like this is what the standard American diet is. And just start peeling layers off.
Right. So again, I don't know Danger Zone, and I'm not trying to be against Danger Zone who commented on our video. What I'm saying is I'm going to tell you, if the average American went from their standard diet to eating this, a 40-30-30, based on 1,600 calories, they will lose weight.
Sure.
I'm not saying they're going to improve their metabolic health. That's another whole thing. Here's the thing about keto and carnivore. Keto and carnivore are not weight loss protocols. Keto and carnivore are health improvement protocols. Weight loss is just a side effect of it. So if you're eating a bunch of carbs, it may help diabetes, but it's not going to really reverse diabetes because it's just too many carbs. You're going to have a lot of insulin, but it still would be better than the standard American diet. The problem is most people aren't eating that little. That's the real problem. The average Americans, the risk why we're obese, we're consuming sugar and fat and then carbs and then all of the chemicals, and we're combining, and we're not moving because we're all watching video games and YouTube and Instagram and all of that stuff. We're not doing anything. So you combine all that stuff, but the average American's eating like well over 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day, and they don't even realize it.
Okay, so Trish, this is so perfect. Thank you so much for like taking the time to do that. So my muffin and my drink in the morning, this is on the way to work. This is 6 o'clock in the morning when I was like driving to the office, 730 calories and 104 carbs. And if you ask me, like at the end of that day, did you eat anything? I'd be like, barely anything, just like a little something in the morning. That would exactly how I would describe it. Just a little something in the morning, just like, my coffee, just to like kind of function and just that. Listen. And then you move into somebody like on keto or carnivore, and we're like in this kind of diet mode, not normal. So like that was normal. That was the average breakfast for me. If we could bring in a wider scope and say like, I'm not dieting anymore. This is the way that I eat, then maybe it wouldn't feel so weird to have some eggs and sausage and like have a hearty breakfast. I was clearly eating a hearty breakfast back then.
Well, here I had a very, very close friend who lost over 100 pounds eating nothing but McDonald's. They ate a Big Mac and an order of fries. That's all they ate all day.
Yep.
for like 2 months and they lost 100 pounds eating a Big Mac and a fries.
Why?
It's just not eating enough.
No.
Now, I'm not saying it was a healthy way to lose weight, but it is possible. But again, I look at, and we're kind of going off on this, but I mean, a muffin and a coffee, 730 calories, and that's your breakfast. Then what do you have for lunch? What do you have for dinner? How many candy bars did you have? Any bags of chips you have? That's the average American.
Yeah, I was just
We counted up once what our average Sunday was pre-keto. We had over 10,000 calories every Sunday.
But that was the fun day.
But it wasn't even horrible compared to normal.
This was a work morning.
Yeah.
When I would look you dead in the face and say, "Well, I had with a little tiny little muffin."
How many people go out to eat?
They so go deprived.
Like, how many people go out to eat? You go to, I don't know, Texas Roadhouse. You get an appetizer. Maybe you split the appetizer. You get a steak, maybe a salad, your side, and then a dessert. You've just eaten more food in your day than the average American is supposed to eat for the whole day. And that's every day. People do that every day. So that's the real problem.
Yeah.
But in the end, keto and carnivore really is the best overall way. It's just not the only way. And that's because keto and carnivore are going to improve so many different metabolic issues. If you don't have a lot of metabolic issues, doing low carb, doing Mediterranean, doing something like paleo could help. But you've got to get yourself in metabolic condition first.
I just have to say, at 76 years old with mom, during this whole procedure, number one, like, things are changing. Don't quit now. Like, we are starting to turn the heads in some medical spaces. Her cardiologist was so happy that she was keto. Like, very, very happy. Like, I approve of this. I'm excited for it. Look how healthy you are. And was very optimistic about her future. He was like, we just want to deal with the leak because you don't want to be doing this like once a year. And he's like, and
these issues could have happened years before this was not caused by keto and
he's like, and 10 years from now, it won't be like bugging you. And I just thought, that is so wonderful. Next to mommy, because she had like her scheduled thing and they had to bump her because hers was not like an emergency situation. There was somebody that they had to get in, a 37-year-old man with a heart attack.
Wow.
Over the weekend, and they were looking for more like issues. And so they were taking him in first. And of course, we're like, yes, and I was talking to his fiance in the waiting room, and she was sharing how they had no idea even what this was. Like, how is he 37 years old and we're already dealing with this? And she was saying, I just thought
lifestyle.
It was the typical thing. She's like, we always have a rotation for like, something hurts. And so we get the Tums and I get him some ginger ale. And we're just trying to go through all of those things that's just kind of like upset stomach as a result of the eating. And I didn't think it would be
happening more and more.
Heart.
My kid's uncle, from my ex-wife, he died in his, I think he was in his early 30s with a very, very young child.
Yes.
Heart attack in his sleep. It just happens because, again, diet and lifestyle.
Heartbreaking.
Next one to move up, Avenue
Hi,
BCD. If anyone finds their A1C creeping up on keto or carnivore, check out what Dr. Ben Bickman says about it. Is usually not pathological. It is physiological. He said some research is showing that your red blood cells become healthier and hardier on such a healthy diet, which means they can live longer than the standard 60 to 90 days in cohort that is in the standard American diet. So your blood sugar is not actually going up. Your red blood counts, your red blood cells are healthier and living longer, which means they hang around a bit longer and just collect more glucose over that time because of their longevity. It's not a reflection of getting diabetes. Hope this helps. Yes. So we've been talking about this for years. A few years ago, it was myself and Dr. Barry and Kim Howerton and Dave Feldman, and we were talking about the fact that really at this point, an A1C is an antiquated test. It is, in my opinion. Okay, I'm not a doctor, but these were all doctors some of them were doctors that I was with. And, it is an antiquated test. When you have things like CGMs now, you can see what's going on in real time. Mm-hmm. And you can't, an A1C is just like a sort of a history of over 3 months, but you can manipulate that test so easily. It is so easy to manipulate that test. And so that is now, that could be an issue. So, and we were talking about this exact thing, that it's a theory, but this was a few years ago. And now there's more research coming out that it's a possibility that your red blood cells are living longer. With that being said, if you are a high protein carnivore, not eating enough fat, that's where the problem comes. It's not so much the A1C. If your regular blood sugar is over 100,
we're talking the daily,
on a regular basis, on a carnivore lifestyle, that's an underlying issue. And many times that is from eating a lot of protein with not enough fat, especially if you're lean.
Sure.
Especially if you're lean.
Yeah.
You know, because your body needs fuel. And if you're not consuming fuel, which is fat, if you're not consuming fuel, your body's going to create it. Well, how does it create it? It takes your muscle, your protein that you're consuming, and free fatty acids, and it turns it into sugar, which now floats around in your bloodstream. And that could cause diabetes. You'd have to be eating just a ridiculous amount of protein to get diabetes, but long-term, it's something to watch. Next one is from JJ.
Hey, JJ.
I just finished watching the last podcast on YouTube. Thank you so much. Being someone who struggles still with food addictions, it's comforting to know that striving for perfection shouldn't be the goal. I love you guys.
I love you too, JJ. And yeah.
Don't pick pepper out of poop.
Well, and I think most of the time, I think the most frustrating thing is not even just like the self-speak that's negative, but it feels like everybody that you put yourself in company with, like, hey, if I try to get into a keto Facebook group, or, you know, I try to, you know, go to a conference, you may feel, or you're listening to a video and you feel like somebody's got the tweezers pointed at you. They're coming to pick something, like you want to share. You're putting yourself in community because you want to share like what this change in your eating lifestyle has done for your health and how it's improved your life. And someone's coming with tweezers to pick out the thing that and steal from your victory.
Yeah. LRSS said hubby's uncle eats apple fritters. Let me go back to that. That was good. Apple fritters. He's addicted to sugar and believes the apple is a healthy fruit. So said an apple can be a healthy fruit. The problem is today's modern day apples are not what they're supposed to be. Well, but I remember there was a school. I've seen school districts say pizza is the perfect food because it's all 4 food groups.
I mean, I've seen where I've talked to people who were
ketchup being listed as a vegetable.
Ketchup was a vegetable.
That's the problem.
Yeah, a serving, which is interesting because tomato is actually a fruit.
Dawn said, recently started a YouTube channel. I was worried about showing my Zevia drink in my Oikos 20-gram yogurt because they are not pure. I open up my fridge and I see the 7 dozen Vital Farm eggs that I heard was one of the best choices from the grocery store. I opened up my cabinet and stared at 4 Redmond refill packs because I've heard that on the YouTube streets, it was the almighty bee's knees. Heaven forbid I keep slurping down my element because it's so dirty. And now the same people that shout from the rooftops to get this stuff are the very same people that influenced me to make me those choices are doing 180s and saying it's awful. Terrible. Stop using these now. Only eat grass-fed beef and butter and ribeye. Good Lord, it's such a head spin. I will keep on eating and drinking all of the above instead of my Mountain Dew and every fast food drive-through I could find. And rant, sorry for the link. That's our point.
Great job, Dawn.
Perfect, Dawn. Dawn, and don't let people discourage you from YouTube. Here's the thing, okay? Here's the funny thing. Our channel, not to go on a rant or make you guys upset or anything like that. Our channel, like, subscriber count been going down for 6 months, going down. Like, you would open up, we used to gain like 1,000 subscribers or a month, steady for years. All of a sudden, every week you open it up and it's like we've lost subscribers. How are we losing subscribers?
Right.
We've lightened it up and said, stop freaking out. Stop picking pepper out of poop. And over the last 3 or 4 weeks, the channel is exploding again.
I think
because people want.
Well, we're just tired of it.
Well, people don't want dogma.
No.
They want normal. We're normal.
And you know what? That's where the majority of people live. Dawn, you're going to show people how that they can step into this lifestyle and be, you know, successful in it. I don't think that if you had a list of all of the things and said, okay, you have to do it this way in order to have any measure of success or it's useless, like I don't think anybody would even try. I wouldn't take one step away from the Mountain Dew that you're talking about, right? Because it's too much. It's just too much.
If they did nothing but eat McDonald's burger patties,
you'd be fine
every day for a month, it's still better than going to the pizza place and getting pizza.
Well, if you got a couple of burger patties.
If you ate McDonald's every day and literally just kept your same thing but threw the bread off, even if you still ate that, I'm not telling you to do this, okay? Before somebody takes a clip and says, Joe said it's okay to eat McDonald's every day. I'm saying, let's say you went to McDonald's every single day. Your life for the last 10 years has been every day I eat McDonald's twice a day. It's all I eat. I get like a Big Mac and I get a fries. If every day you just did that same thing, but you threw the bread and all of the high sugar sauces off of the Big Mac, ate the burger patties and still ate the fries, you'd still be better off.
Well, I could go to the same.
Not that you'd be healthy, but you'd be better off.
I could go to the same Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru that I did years ago. And what I do is I drive up and I say, hey, instead of that muffin, please hand me out their breakfast sausage thing. They have like an egg and sausage combination, right? And then take off. I remember they had one that was like in a wrap. And so just take the wrap off and eat that. And then order a large coffee because I want a large coffee and say, can I have a splash of cream in it? Even if they give you half and half.
Even if they give you half and half.
And just say, okay, I'm not going to drink it. No, I still have 2 things from Dunkin' Donuts in my car on my way to work. It's going to keep me feeling better longer. And it's actually providing some nutrition.
And again, I think that what's got us turned around here is, again, I'm not saying this is optimal. I'm not saying this is the best way. I'm not saying it's a lift. But if you're to have somebody who's trying to go from the standard American diet to keto and carnivore, and I think that our son has really kind of opened up our eyes to this. If you just threw out the bread and did nothing else, or I would say before you even throw out the bread, just throw out all the sugar.
Yeah.
If you just got rid of all the sugar first, okay? Because I look at our son who's like, I'm sorry, but our son is a sugar addict.
He loves sugar.
Talking about somebody who would wake up and eat an entire bag of Sour Patch Kids, right? So if you just stop doing that, and ate an Egg McMuffin. Not that it would be the best. It would be better.
Less bad.
And then we slowly get you over. Again, I look at our recipe on our carnivore mug cake, on our cinnamon roll mug cake. When I created that recipe, it had 2 tablespoons of erythritol plus liquid sweetener. Mm-hmm. Now it's a half a tablespoon. So you gradually will come over. Hope said, my husband and I have been carnivore for 3 years this month. It has changed our lives in so many ways. We still eat keto chow, flavored electrolytes like salty, bunless Costco hot dogs wrapped in the toppings from a slice of pizza.
Ooh,
that is, I never thought of that, Hope. I'm going to Costco.
The lights just went on in my life.
Because you're always like, which one do I get?
Slice of pizza, eat the toppings.
I never thought about wrapping the hot dog with the top. That is awesome.
Now you're talking.
It has made this way of eating sustainable for us. I can't afford grass-fed beef, which is okay since I'm not a huge fan of the flavor. Neither are we.
So I think this is interesting, because you do want to share. And like, I know that it's hard not to want to help somebody else like optimize if you think, hey, I'm having even better results. But when you see somebody just look you in the face as honest and vulnerable as they can and say, I can't afford that. Well, now what? Now you tell them quit? Because if they're saying, well, we're at an impasse here. We're at a fork in the road. We either find a way to figure it out with hot dogs and mustard, and you say, okay, well, that's at least heading in the right direction. Or you just say, if I'm sorry, but if you can't afford better than hot dogs and mustard, then I guess die.
Yeah.
Right?
Next one's from Beverly.
Hey, Beverly.
You made me realize I've become a keto carnivore Nazi because I've been afraid of doing it wrong. I have not even given up, but I've not given up, but pressured myself and my husband to be perfect. I've actually gone to Buc-ee's and paid premium for their sliced brisket because their chopped only comes with sugar. Yeah, that is a problem there. That's why we don't even get it anymore. I agree your honesty about imperfection. We have been doing this for 2 years and have been seeing progress, although my husband is still on 5 blood pressure medications and blood thinner and thyroid meds. I know he's better than he would be if I weren't making everything for him.
And again, this is the perfect thing and really makes me feel good that we did put out that video because I care about your marriage. I care about your health, truly. But I also care about your relationships. I care about your interactions with kids. I care about you forming friendships with people and being able to have beautiful times in community, right? And sometimes when we get into that mindset of like, I have to police everything, beginning with myself, then moving on to my husband, my children, my friends, to the point where I'm exhausting, like we'll be healthier and divorced.
Yes.
And I don't want that.
Right.
Right. So I think that if it can help us sometimes like calming down, not just for our own personal mind, but also for the relationships, that people can feel comfortable around us again, because maybe they are ready to not go keto or not go carnivore, but maybe start lowering carbs or lowering sugar. Are we approachable enough to come back to?
Right. We were thinking, we were having fun with Alexa the other day.
Oh my goodness.
And I said, because you mentioned Buc-ee's, and I said, how many Buc-ee's will we be passing going? I was trying to figure out how long it's going to take us. It should take us about 10 hours to drive from here to Gatlinburg.
Not including bathroom breaks.
But then we have an RV. So add 2 hours to that. Then I asked Alexa, now given Rachel's love of Buc-ee's, how long will it take?
Also, Joe's.
It basically said, like, give yourself 3 days. Because we're passing 2 Buc-ee's. Now, we will get food in Buc-ee's, okay? We'll get food in Buc-ee's. Now, I don't really get the brisket anymore, even though I like their brisket.
It's kind of expensive.
It's like over $30. I don't do their chopped brisket sandwiches because it's just too saucy. If that was a sugar-free sauce, I wouldn't buy it. It's just too saucy for me. So we get the Texas beef burrito.
Right.
It's almost like a fajita meat in it.
It's nice because there's no rice in it.
That's what it's called. No rice. It's just like cheese and
rare.
beef and peppers.
Usually
and then we throw out the wrap.
But usually wraps like that fill things with rice.
It's like $8. So it's pretty cheap for Buc-ee's.
Because it's only the meat and vegetables.
Right.
I actually do think it's kind of reasonable for Buc-ee's.
Next one's from Arthur Fonzarelli.
Hey!
Good people aren't quitting because of the standards. They're coming up with excuses to quit. 7th grader realizes how you can easily adapt to doing this. Blame the people for being uneducated or finding excuses. I kind of disagree.
I don't think Fonzie would say that.
Here's what I'm going to say. To a point, yes. Are some people quitting keto or quitting carnivore? I'm going to say people quit carnivore because for most people, I think carnivore is not sustainable.
Yeah.
Somebody will argue that it is. For most people, carnivore is not sustainable long-term. And when I say sustainable, I'm saying like 6 months, a year, 2 years, beyond 2 years, people gravitate back because, again, there's never been a human civilization that is 100% carnivore ever in the history of civilization, in the history of the world, all the way back. Okay. So some people quit. That's why people quit carnivore and they go back to keto or paleo or things like that. Why do people who get started quit keto? Sometimes, yes, it comes down to the whole idea of, they have an addiction. They want to eat their sugar. They want their bread. It becomes difficult. But that's a small portion. A lot of people keep being told they're doing it wrong. And that forces you to quit because you're like, well, I just give up. I was doing this and you're telling me that's not good enough. And I'm doing this. And so that stress weighs heavy on a lot of people, including us.
Well, definitely for us. I mean, I feel like that's why we got bullied into getting harder and harder and harder, as far as like talking about subjects that we didn't feel like needed to be talked about with such minutia. But we were getting bullied to talk about it more. So like there's absolutely like bullying. And I think that maybe if you've never experienced morbid obesity for a large part of your life, and certainly not in your formative years, like when you're little, but I was like fat in elementary school. So, and middle school was horrible, right? And there is a certain amount of this within the addiction that also goes hand in hand with desiring acceptance. We as human beings want to interact. We want to be accepted. We want to see where we fit in. And a lot of times for some of us, like me, at least I'll speak for myself. When I didn't fit in at school, when I felt like part of that not fitting in was tied to my exterior appearance, I would go home and comfort myself with this food I was addicted to. It was part of like, it became like, it's an outside entity that was my best friend, my comfort, my solace, how I celebrated. So there was like a really toxic relationship, certainly with the food. And it's hard on that level just to give up something you're addicted to. But then when you meld it with, okay, I'm eating keto, you're eating keto, now we're friends. And now I have acceptance. It helps me to let go of the stuff that I used to be addicted to because now I have friends without having to eat something crazy. Then you get to the meetup or you get to an interaction and the person is making you feel like, oh no, I'm sorry. You're still not accepted.
Right.
Then yeah, no, I want to quit.
Here's what I'm going to say, and then we'll move on because I want to get to some comments. But we were both well over 300 pounds. We have maintained this lifestyle and our weight for 9 years, eating the way you all see us eat in videos. We don't eat perfect. Now, we don't go off of keto, but we make mug cakes and we will have some keto products. And oh my gosh, we've had some alcohol once in a while. But, and I like energy drinks and I have a massive soda issue. But I'm happy. I'm healthy. My labs are great. Am I the perfect weight? No, but I know a lot of carnivores, hardcore carnivore influencers who aren't the perfect body weight.
And they're still hard on themselves.
So for me, this is sustainable. My labs are good. I'm healthy. My biggest issue is sleep and stress, but that's got nothing to do with my diet.
You're not gonna meet out of that.
You can't eat your way out of sleep and stress.
No.
And overworking, which is why we've started doing a sabbatical. And we have 2 comments left. They're very lighthearted, but I do want to say, because I get this comment every time, well, Adam and Eve didn't eat any meat. Here's the thing. They didn't eat to live.
No.
So that they didn't eat.
We've done a whole podcast on that.
Yeah. But every time I say that we've never been carnivores, somebody always puts that in. Well, we're not supposed to. We always get that comment.
Oh.
Okay. Next one is from Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Has anybody signed up for any excursions for this year's 2KK cruise? I'm thinking about the Mayan ruins, but there are several to choose from. Which is best? I just put this in here to remind me to let everybody who's going on the cruise know. I've got the hotel thing. I'm going to be sending that link out later today or tomorrow as soon as I can remember to sit down at the computer and send out that link, as well as links to, we've come up with a design. We got our shirt. I was going to have Rachel wear it, but she looked also dressed up, so we didn't. But we've got a really cool shirt. Cool shirt. Totally optional if you want to get it. It's going to be on Amazon. Same thing. T-shirts, sweatshirts, everything. Because then I don't have to print them. You can order if you want it. It would be cool if everybody had it for like the picture or anything.
But you don't have to.
It's totally optional. And it's in full color. And it came out really good.
It's nice.
So we're going to send all that out so that you guys can make your hotel reservations and things like that. It's the Holiday Inn in Orlando. We're going to be staying there. People have asked me about if they're driving, can you keep your car there? Yes, you can. They're going to charge $15 a day. My recommendation, which is what I told Hap last night, is don't bother. It's $20 a day to park at the cruise port.
Okay.
It's $15 a day to park at the hotel. The hotel is 45 minutes away. If you have an average
so you
traffic.
Still don't have to pay for a shuttle.
So you've got to pay for a shuttle, and then you've got to go pay for a shuttle back. Whereas you can we're going to stay in the hotel with all of you, and then we're going to park right there. MSC's terminal is great there in Orlando. We're going to park right there at the terminal, and then when we get off, we can go home.
Yeah.
And it only costs you $5 more a day, but you're going to spend that on a shuttle anyway.
But to answer Teresa's questions, I loved the Mayan ruins.
So yeah, the Tulum, that's why I was going to say, we did the Tulum, do it in Cozumel.
Yes.
Don't do the ruins in Costa Maya. Whether you're going on the low carb cruise or never do the ruins in Costa Maya. You generally never have enough time. Okay. It's a long drive. You want to do the ruins when you go to Cozumel. We did the Tulum ruins with the cenote. Very, very good. Very, very good. Although somebody stole Sam's shoes, if I remember right. That we had an amazing guide who was telling us about his family and how they're all carnivores and they do great. And the problem down there in those areas is, he said, sugar. They Coca-Cola moved in, and but the Tulum ruins and cenote was excellent. One recommendation, whether you're going through us or anything else, if you're going on a cruise and you're going to Cozumel, never book an excursion outside of your cruise line, because if you have to, unless it stays right there on Cozumel, but if you have to go to the mainland, like, which is where all the ruins are, only do it through the cruise line, because they are almost always late or just making it. And if you book it outside and you get back, they're closing that door.
Yes.
And then you're finding a way to get home or to the next port,
right,
at your expense. But they will leave you.
But if you do it through the cruise line, they hold the ship.
They hold the ship, or will pay for you to get back. Right. I mean, if you're like 10 hours late, they're leaving, but they get you to the next port.
Yeah.
Last one from Anonymous. Please stop using annoying music or whatever it's supposed to be. I couldn't finish the video.
Sounds like you couldn't start the video because it's the beginning.
Yes. So again, that's in the podcast, the first 2 minutes. This is a podcast thing.
Yeah.
That's a podcast thing. It's called The Hook. You got an hour video. You got to grab somebody's attention the first 2 minutes. We don't put music over most of our videos, but in The Hook, there's generally some music. It's very low. Give it 1 to 2 minutes, and then it goes away.
I really want to say that
or we can go back to audio only.
I'm crushed by your comment, because I had to learn to play the flute in order to create the music to play in that opening sequence, Joe. Nice. Do you remember all of those days that I was like, yeah, no.
LRSS, I measure the positive factor of cutting out seed oils by the disappearance of knee on other joint pain.
That's a great way to look at it.
Way to do it. Simple Faith, my 16-year-old son works out and does Ketovore. It works well for him, but when he wants vegetables or something, he has it. We pre-make him zucchini lasagna.
And he allows some treats. I love it. That is so doable. And, you know, if this is your son that you're talking about, probably like our son, he's looking forward to decades and decades and decades of more life, right? That is the goal. And I want our children not to be like completely bummed out. I want them to have flavor and spice of life, right? So I think that this is great. And I love how you are supporting him in his way, his N=1 experiment, right?
Pat said, I'm loving the new vibes. Sometimes I think about sharing a photo of my meal on busy baseball nights, but I hesitate because it isn't perfect. We have to keep this realistic and doable for normies. Yes, and please share your stuff.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, if people thought we were angry before, try to go into our Mighty Networks group and make a comment about somebody's food that you disagree with.
Ooh, that would be bad.
Like,
that would be unwise.
That's when I would become afraid of this woman.
He has chosen.
You think I can be nasty?
Unwisely.
You see somebody beat up somebody in our community, and this woman makes me look like a pussycat.
Yeah, I don't do well when people are bullies. And the thing is, okay, so what is happening at that moment when we're deciding to snap the picture and share it, or don't snap the picture and share it? It is because we are thinking about the audience. And in our minds, and I've done this too so many times, Pat, but like it ends now, right? I think I'm going to put this in, and the audience that I'm thinking of first, the priority in my mind, because remember, we don't have priorities, we have a priority. And the priority audience is the Pharisees and the Sadducees, apparently, right? Like
Yep.
it's the person who's the most angry, the person who's the most diehard, the person that if you were sitting next to them in a restaurant, you'd be like, oh, I gotta sit next to them. This is gonna suck. I'm not even gonna be able to order what I want, right? That person is the audience in my mind. So let's have a mindset shift. And instead of making that person the priority in the audience, let's picture the one person that may be just starting today and say,
I can do that.
I am going to snap a picture of what I'm eating because it is so doable that audience of one, and it is someone wide-eyed and looking for our help. That's the person I'm putting the picture up for.
When you share your story, some of it is for you. Some of it there is nothing wrong to be able to go, look at me. Look at how good I'm doing. That's not a bad thing. Somewhere we've made people feel that if you are proud of your accomplishment, then you're a narcissist.
Yeah.
That is not, it depends on how you handle it. So when you share your story, that's your being proud. Like, look at what I have accomplished. And a lot of people don't get it, but you guys get it. Please go into our Mighty Networks group and share your story. Please. But when you're also doing that, you're helping other people going, look, I can do this. When you put up your plate, I'm going to challenge you guys this week. Go into our Mighty Networks group. I want every day. I want every day you to post one of your meals. I don't care what's on. I don't care if there's a Coke Zero on it. I don't care. But put it, because what's going to happen is my son is going to see that picture and be like, well, I can do that. I thought it had to look like Dad's plate with 5 pounds. Well, that's Rachel's plate. 5 pounds of ribeye. But no, when they see that, you know what? Maybe there was a sweet potato on the plate, but it was mostly meat. When somebody sees that, when people think keto and carnivore is not fun. So when you posted that picture, people are going to be like, I can do that. When you put up some of these next to your plate is dessert. Obviously, you can't buy these. I made them.
But you may make some for yourself.
But whatever. That is going to encourage people. So I'm going to encourage you guys this week. Everybody, one meal a day, go into Mighty Networks, post what you ate for the day.
And if you
one of your meals.
And if you get a negative comment, because maybe you're gonna take this boldness and you're gonna share it on your Facebook page, or you're going to share it like in another Facebook group. If somebody has something negative to say, you only have to get enough courage to answer back, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah, I would
wasn't
say
talking
post
to
it on
you.
your Instagram. I'm telling you, go on our Mighty Networks group because it's a safe space.
But it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
It was for Caleb. It was for Rachel and Joe's kid. That's what it's for.
Bonus points if you also post it on your Instagram. I mean, please put it in our Mighty Networks group. Bonus points if you also post it where you're not in a safe space.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. What an exciting thing.
Mary said, I will have to go watch the Ben Bickman show as this is exactly what my problem. A1C creeped up after 2 years on keto. I was worried.
Good to see that there's a possible different explanation.
Simple Faith. I added 2 yolks and 3 eggs every morning, and it lowered my glucose. Yeah,
I love it.
Because of the fat. What is this? Okay, what does Arthur Fonzarelli say?
Well, hello again. That is 100 times worse than carbs. You can overeat fat with no carbs, but you almost can never overeat carbs with no fats. Oh, I see what you're saying. Just eat a whole bunch. So are you presently on sugar diet?
Well, here's the thing. You can overeat fat with no carbs. You can, but it's very difficult because you're going to get full. The problem is carbs, you will absolutely overeat because you don't. I disagree completely. I 100% disagree. I had to reread it twice. You could absolutely overeat carbs. Because if that's the problem with the sugar diet, okay, you are going to send your glucose through the roof long term unless if you look like Mark Bell and you are working out insanely, that's a different thing. But even long term, it's still going to affect you. You can absolutely, you know how I know you can overeat carbs? Because I had no problem sitting down eating 5 sleeves of Oreo cookies, but I can't finish 15 wings from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
So I disagree 100%.
Fonzie,
I disagree.
I feel
it is much easier to overeat carbs. You know, if you're looking at it for calorically, maybe like if you looked at calories, but calories, there's a difference in calories. Like, and your body needs fat. Your body doesn't need carbs. It does need fat. I think that's, we have a lot. If you put things at the beginning of the stream, I'm sorry. It's too difficult to go back. And that's why we ask everybody to please don't comment until the end if we're missing something, but we will be back live on Thursday. We should be in Gatlinburg by then. We better be in Gatlinburg by then.
It starts Friday.
Because it starts Friday.
Yeah.
So we're just going to do it from the RV park. If you're in the Gatlinburg area, make sure you send us a hey, howdy, hey.
We'd love to see you.
We will be at Meatstock for the weekend.
Please let us know, like, if you're going to Meatstock. We want to see your beautiful face.
Yes, do not be the person from our very first conference
and
in
hold
2018 across the room from us going, look, there was Joe and Rachel. No. Even I hug. I do hug.
Yes. So let's make sure we actually have lunch together.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Let me go back to that other screen. Like I said, we will be back live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. I just got to figure out which time zone Gatlinburg is in. Somebody I'm sure will let me know. But also don't forget, Rachel will have, because we're tomorrow, she'll do her Wednesday coaching call at 10 a.m. and then we're going to leave after that. So if you're a member of our Mighty Networks Meatheads group, the paid supporters, you're going to go ahead and you can do that at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Have a good night, guys.
We love you guys.